Hi, all. Welcome to Reading Royals with body language expert Scott Rouse. I'm Kinsey Schofield. Reading Royals brings history, headlines, and human behavior together in a way only Scott and I can. And this is part two, where we go beyond palace press releases and carefully staged photo ops and look at what is really being communicated. This week, we are featuring Meghan Markle's Geneva speech pretty heavily. Yes, it happened a few weeks ago, but this is the first time Scott and I have had a chance to really sit down and break down what was said and Meghan's performance. And so if you were so intrigued by our conversation that we teased last week, we're so grateful that you joined us here today, this week. Scott, you're at CrimeCon, right? Like you're like living your best life. So if you go to CrimeCon and you watch Reading Royals, please give Scott a hug for me. Say, this is from Kinsey. Please do that. Are you,
Oh,
and be nice. No mace. Okay, Scott? Don't mace anybody.
yeah, pretty much quit macing me. Yeah.
Yeah. All
So,
right. Well, let's jump into some of the recent videos we've seen from the Royals. This very funny moment. So, Prince William's visiting a hospital, and this is what you typically do during royal engagements. He's engaging with some of the people that are in the hospital, and he tells a 94-year-old woman named Dot that he's seen her room. And she says, "Are you going to stay?" She says, "Are you going to stay?" And
whoops.
Prince William says, "Stay in your room. There's only one bed, Dot." And she says, "I don't care." And he said, "It might get a bit cozy." And she says that like she's into it. And he said that they'll have to come to some sort of arrangement. And when she asks if he's going to bring his wife around next time, he says he thinks he might have to for protection.
This lady here's Dot. She's the room that we
So your room dogs.
are you going to pay?
To stay in your room. There's only one bed, Dot. I feel it might be a bit,
Care.
might be a bit cozy, Dot. Well, in that case, Dot, I'm sure we'll come to some arrangement.
That's just a cute
Oh,
little example of I love how off the cuff he is, like how comfortable how silly he is, like just off the cuff. Like again, another organic moment thanks to Dot, 94-year-old flirt alert Dot. Um,
yeah.
he seemed happy to be there, and I think that you can be quick on your feet when you're comfortable in this situation you're in. Is that true?
Yeah, and you can tell he's doing this isn't set up or anything, obviously, but he's on the edge of all that you can see his wit in action because he's not sure how that's going to come out either because you can see his body totally collapses, his legs come together, his arms come down, the whole thing because he's kind of embarrassed of that whole thing
Oh,
and
really?
smiling this big old huge smile. So, but he's trying to be nice. He knows there's nothing mean there. He knows there's nothing there going to make him look bad or anything like that. But he's trying so hard to engage with that woman.
Hmm.
He's trying to do what he's there to do. I think that's when we're seeing when Harry talks about my duty and Andrew talks about my duty. That's what this guy's doing. He's
Yeah.
going out talking to these people. They're in an old folks home, and he's going there. They're going to talk about that till the day they're not here anymore. Now,
Hmm.
the day they met, Prince William, they're going to talk, and they're talking about it right now. There's somebody that was in that room talking about it right now. I bet you $100. So I think from a body language perspective, even though he's closed down like that from embarrassment for a minute, he's totally open. We're just seeing nothing planned there. In other words, everything's off the cuff. Because how could you plan for something like that?
Yeah.
Nobody prepped him for that.
No, nobody prepped him for
So,
Dot for Dot looking for a spooning partner.
nope.
All right, let's pivot to the Sussexes. You sent me this video for
Oh,
their eighth anniversary. Meghan
mhm.
Markle not only shared a carousel of never before seen photos from their wedding, and again, to your point, look at me, because this is like on the heels of Catherine's Italy triumphant celebration, and everybody was just like in awe of Catherine. And then Meghan's like, "Don't forget my wedding anniversary." Um, and she posted all of these photos on social media, but she also posted a really weird video.
Mhm.
Let's watch that together.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is when Mama and Papa
when we when we got engaged, we had a party with all of our friends, and we said everyone wear an animal onesie, and we were penguins. We were penguins because they're together for life.
Shut up.
That's too bad. That's so cool. What is it with feet in these people, man? The first thing we see is his feet in there. I don't get it. I don't know what's going on, man. I'm just not doing it.
It
I
doesn't
really
look her
didn't.
style either. Like, she's very minimalist, and it's two giant freaking penguins. It's like so bizarre. Yeah, this feels like an odd invasion of privacy between these two that insists so much that they should be left alone.
But you can't. Not her. It's not going to happen. Anything. I don't know who's watching that. I really don't. Besides me
Unfortunately, it
going,
was
look
us
at
today.
that. Yeah, you send it back and forth like, oh, but who's actually going, oh my gosh, this is, there are people out there that are doing that. Correct? Obviously, there are people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I don't understand for me. I don't get that.
We're trying to figure out what the demographic is. We're still lost on who, just voluntarily chases after Meghan and Harry. Let's talk about this Geneva speech.
Thank you, Dr. Tedros, not simply for your leadership at the World Health Organization, but for your clarity in recognizing that this is not simply a technology issue. It is a public health issue. And a human one.
First response is like robotic. The outfit is so stern. The outfit is so serious. The outfit is so like matrixy. And then she takes some really weird breaths.
Yeah.
Are those breaths seeking oxygen organically, or is that a punctuation she's trying to make in the speech?
Oh, this is rehearsed. I think she's read this a lot because she seems fairly comfortable doing it. However, she's trying to evoke an emotion that isn't there, that I'm not sure she could have. I don't know. But she's trying to make it look like this is very somber, and these people behind me are all not with us. It's fake. You've got a lot going on from a psychological perspective as well that leaks into her behavior, because those things, what do you call, barricades back there, which is the people behind me. What she should be saying is behind me are about 8 people who don't know who I am or what I'm doing, because they're all like pointing at stuff, and there's one guy.
Well, no, she's saying in that context that the people behind her are the
screen.
Dead children. Yeah,
right, on the screen. I was going to say dead kid,
oh.
But yeah. So that's, if I was her, that's what I would have said. There's a bunch of people, or if I was standing, there's a bunch of people behind her that don't care about her. But I see what you're saying with the big screens. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's, she's trying to make it seem more important than it is. And watch how fast, we'll compare how fast she's talking now to her cadence, the speech she's talking toward a little bit later on. You'll see it slows down a little bit. Right now, she's getting all the nerves out of the way, trying to get comfortable with the situation, and trying to set the tone for what's coming.
I think we should correct that, because I don't think that either one of us, we both believe that this is an important cause. Protecting children online is an important cause. I think the way we should position this is that the reason that maybe her tone is incorrect here because she is not the authority on it.
That's okay. There you go.
Yeah. I think that's what we're trying to say, because we both agree that this is a cause that we can support independently, but it's Meghan being the messenger that is the component that doesn't make sense and that we're having a hard time taking seriously.
See, that's why you're a pro. You can see those things and go, here's what's going on.
Well, no, because I understand what you're saying. I just don't think that I want to make sure that the people at home don't misread what you're saying, or don't
I should have said that stuff about the people behind me, because I was making fun of those people that aren't paying attention to her, not those children on the phone.
Exactly. You were not acknowledging the people. You are not acknowledging the art installation. You're talking about the fact that there are these. It was such a bizarre. We'll see more of the layout here, but there was not really a crowd for her there. And then the way that it's left open in the middle of nowhere, you're seeing all of the people that are not engaging with what she's saying, which does not help her cause.
Yeah. How many people were there? Do you know? I mean, I've heard stories, but I haven't
Like
seen the
less
pictures.
than 30. Less than
Ooh.
30. Like, yeah. All right,
Uh,
let's jump back into this.
A child whose laughter once filled a kitchen, whose shoes once waited by a front door, whose future once felt limitless. And now their faces ask the world questions we can no longer avoid. How many more millions of children will be harmed by products that, while innovative, are still designed without sufficient safeguards? And when will children be able to enjoy the extraordinary potential of technology without it compromising their well-being?
I mean, it's just such a 180 from like the person she's been shoving down our throats for the last 2 years. Female entrepreneur, like me hanging out with my girlfriends, Jamie Kern Lima,
yeah.
and cook what's cooking in the kitchen other than a bag of pretzels into another plastic bag of pretzels. It's
There's no,
I want to say like I appreciate her pursuing something like this, but because there's always an ulterior motive. And I feel like there's a couple of ulterior motives with the Sussexes lately. It's to change public perception of them, take them seriously as these charitable entities, because we don't consider them royalty anymore. But what do we love about the royals? They're constantly, you know, pursuing causes that are bigger than themselves. They might register that, so they're like, oh well, we need to look more charitable. Also, Meghan's got this whole commercial enterprise that she's trying to shove down our throats with the scones, the clotted, this loose fruit spread on the scones. So it's such an escape from the person she's been trying to tell us she is over the last few years
mhm.
that I watch this with my cynical glasses on, thinking you just want to erase the last 6 years of harm you've been doing, because in my opinion she bullied the queen and Prince Philip, into their graves, in my opinion. Like, just to send so much hate towards them media wise in the last few years and months and days of their life.
Mm.
You're not a very compassionate or empathetic person, no matter how many examples you give of, children, that unfortunately lost their life. You're not the spokesperson. When we've not seen real empathy and compassion from you, you can say all you want behind your note cards, but actions speak louder than words. And you have not been very kind to people on full display.
Wow. Yeah.
Sorry.
Wow. No, you're right. You're right. I just can't add anything to that, except for the fact what you just described is exactly the way she looks and exactly the way she's delivering her speech there. And everything is these da 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 da, and then a question, da 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 da, then da da, and she asks a question and then answers it for a lot of these. It doesn't seem authentic. It doesn't seem like she's really experiencing those emotions. And we don't see those emotions on her face. We actually see smiles a couple of times when she's talking about the child or the other person that's not with us anymore. We're seeing smiles because she's supposedly remembering those people. But it doesn't seem authentic to me. If I were to be asked, is this authentic or not? I'd have to say, no, it isn't. We're not seeing the things that let us know that. We're not seeing her breathing changing. What we're hearing is some of these breaths that her voice, in other words, gets a little bit tighter and it goes up a little bit higher because she's trying to show you she's, into this, or we're seeing emotion from her. But the emotions that are supposed to be there aren't there. And mainly that's sorrow and sadness. She's trying to make you think there's sadness because of the way she's talking and her approach to this. She's standing there all stoic and trying to, reads her cards and then taps them and then says something else. It's like, here's what I think. Here's what I'm going to do. And because of this, but it's not authentic. Now let's go back to William. When he was, we don't see things like this from him. We don't see things like this from Catherine, because I think they know better. If they were to approach something like this, they wouldn't be dressing all dark and all, stand there like that. They would say, well, here's what's happening. Here's what happened. It would be lighter than this. I hope I'm going to say I hope I'm not giving trained stuff
there's
to
a
Meghan
heaviness.
to.
You're right. There's a heaviness. And there's a like, no, you're going to take me seriously. It's like
Mm,
as an act, it's like she came from this place of being an actress. What should
mhm.
the wardrobe be? How should my voice sound? I want to sound like an authority. And is she internally fighting between sounding like an authority and showing empathy and compassion in this speech? Because to your point, she does do something with her voice where she's trying to be like, and now I care. And no, listen,
Mhm.
this is important to me. But it's coming at such a harsh place, this presence that she's walked in with,
Mhm.
that I think that the wanting to sound like an authority on this situation uh, negates any sort of sensitive delivery she's trying to deliver.
Yeah, and I think another thing that adds to that is the fact that there aren't people there watching her.
Yeah.
Usually Harry's there with her, so people come and see what's going on because he's actually a royal. But there was, I don't know what's going on with that. But she's by herself and nobody cared because she has nothing to back that up with. Why is she an authority on that?
Well, it's just so out of her wheelhouse. Yeah, to your point, it's just, again, like we do care about this topic. And in fact, we should do an episode on how to actually protect children online because you talked to me about
Mm.
some of this stuff offline. And it's something we do care about in real life.
Yeah,
But she did this speech like within days of sharing another picture of Lily online. And
yeah,
that's your actions do not meet your delivered speech. If you
yeah.
are that concerned about protecting children online, you would not be exposing your children in any way, shape, or form to the internet. They cannot consent to what's going on.
Yeah, that's too bad. I agree with you though. It would be a good idea to do, even if it's something short. Put together a short little episode, tell people how to actually protect your kids and what you want to do in case anything happens. Those kind of things.
Yeah,
I'd be into that if you want to do something like that.
right.
We can
Because
do that.
our issue is not with the message. We do agree
Mm,
that people should be protected online. I mean, yeah, everyone. I think that all of the rules should be tougher for online behavior. It's the messenger that is bothering us because she's not living this life that and it's classic. Like it's them not living the life that they preach. You shouldn't take private jets. You should, like, Harry's built this company called Travelist where they try to minimize your footprint and your carbon footprint, but then Harry and Meghan are taking private jets everywhere.
wait,
It's
tell
like
me
this.
about this. I don't know about this. Travelist?
Harry has a company called Travelist, and in
Oh my
Travelist,
God, that's a cute
the whole
dog. Oh,
concept is that they're going to teach you how to shrink your carbon footprint. And
yeah,
then Harry and Meghan are like jet setting all over the place on private jets. And it's just like, live what you preach, bro. Live what you
mm,
lecture. Live what you lecture. Like, if you're going to do this ragging on social media companies for not protecting children, why the hell do you have your children on social media?
that's true. Yeah, man, wow, we got to come up with something like that. We got to get it off that. That's too.
How do we join whatever
Oh man,
Ponzi scheme this has become for these two? All right, let's take a look at a few more minutes of. I don't know if I can do all 20 minutes of this. I'm going to be honest with you, but let's
oh,
take a
you don't
look at
have
a
to.
few more minutes of this.
These stories are not isolated, they are consistent, and they are not the fault of the child nor the parent. Across lived experience, court cases, authoritative medical and media journals, and testimony from families, a clear and urgent picture is emerging. At the same time, advancing technologies such as AI are not just repeating past mistakes, they are accelerating and amplifying them.
She drags AI there for a second. And this is the same woman that while in Australia, while embracing children with cancer, while taking pictures with victims and survivors of the Bondi Beach shooting, she was promoting an AI app so that you could shop her closet
Oh,
in
yeah.
these pictures where she's embracing all of these vulnerable people. And then she goes and she's going to give a speech in Geneva about the dangers of AI. It's like, oh my God, do you hear yourself?
That's too bad. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, if you're going to talk the talk, you better walk the walk. And I don't think she's doing that. That's not good. That's not,
Yeah.
we talk about other reasons why it's not good.
Yeah.
But if you check out her body language in this is where she gets restless a little
Oh,
bit. She's moving back a little bit. She moves forward a little bit. She starts talking faster. Her voice goes just a little bit. The tone is a little bit higher. So that lets us know that her voice her larynx is being constricted a little bit by her voice because maybe she's tightening up a little bit. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's very subtle. But if you'll watch the way she starts backing up and her her cadence speeds up as well. So maybe that's something that bothers her in here. Maybe somebody's brought that up
oh,
before.
oh,
So
wow. What
I
a
find
that
that
I'm gonna
odd.
look for that right now.
All right.
Prevention begins with one simple principle. Children must be saved by design, not saved by chance. Because danger now travels globally, instantly, invisibly, and intimately. And our protections must do the same.
Did you notice anything else? Is there a place I could jump to in this speech? Because I just,
Oh no, it's all horrifically boring. It's
yeah,
you
I mean,
just
like,
saw the whole thing.
yeah, I mean, again, I hate to be disparaging when this topic is important, but the messenger is a poor one. The messenger is not a good one. There's no charisma here. I feel like she's playing a part. I feel like she watched that show House of Cards, or she watched no, it's not House of Cards. There was a female president in House of Cards. I'll tell you what she watched. I feel like she watched Olivia Pope on that show Scandal, where there's the fixer that's having the affair with the president, and she's like trying to play that female, that badass female, the way she enunciates certain words and the way, again, with the cards, she's playing a role to me. And again, she's not living the lecture, and she's not the right messenger. That is the only way I could deliver this. I could watch Catherine, the Princess of Wales, talk all day long. It's that authenticity. It's that I live the life I'm, preaching about. And she doesn't preach. That's a terrible word, but she said, I live the life I'm teaching you about.
Mhm.
And this is just not doing it for me.
No, I think she's a little embarrassed too because you see some it's hard to tell from that distance, but I think the first thing I told you when I said, "Hey, I found this. Here's the long version of that," is the embarrassment of which is I'm sure what she's thinking about. That's probably ahead of all this that she's trying to deliver this message while at the same time being a little bit embarrassed that there's nobody there watching or the small
The
amount of
crowd
people
is
that are watching
small.
her.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think that probably plays a big part of it is the embarrassment of that.
And you've been well, you grew up in like around Nashville, and like you've been in the scene, like you've been somewhere where you're casually out for the day. Like maybe you're just going to go grab lunch or
Mhm.
whatever. You're running errands, and you see that there, like, I don't know who George Strait is trying out a new song at the Bluebird, and you catch wind of it and you run in there and you catch something special. Like, all of these people are walking around her. She's allegedly a royal, and you're not seeing any of those people stop or run to try to get a better view. They're all just, you know what I mean? Like,
Maybe,
we've been in a situation where we find out something special has happened. Oh, you guess what? They're filming an episode of the new Fresh Prince of Bel Air down the street on my beach. And I'm going, I want to see what's going on. Yeah, I'm going to walk a few blocks
yeah.
and see what's going on. Like, there is an alleged royal right there, and no one cares, Scott.
So to solidify what you just said, I always look for what's missing. What's missing from those people back there that you see?
Enthusiasm,
Not
care.
only that, there's no videoing going on. There may
Yeah.
be, I think, for 1 second, some guy gets his picture made or something. That's about it. But there's nobody videoing it. So
Mm-hmm.
nobody finds it important or feels like they'll be able to say, look what I saw, or look where I was. Nobody cares. I don't think anybody knows that's her. It could be bad publicity or whatever. They don't have any signs up or something. But that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
Well,
And you can
she's
see
also
that on
supposed
her.
to be one of the most recognized famous women, according to her. According to Harry, Harry was saying the reason why we left the British royal family is are jealous of Meghan's popularity and success. And you're right, nobody recognizes her, nobody cares.
Oh,
Whereas if it was King Charles standing there delivering a similar speech, or the Prince and Princess of Wales, not only would there be huge crowds, but they would just be instantly recognizable.
yeah.
Nobody knows who she is, nobody cares. She's dressed in very odd, in my opinion, like a crypt keeper. I don't understand this. You
Yeah.
know, there you need and again, I think she's trying to overcompensate for the fact that she realizes she's really truly not an authority in this space. She's trying to force it. But, you know, she's just not the right messenger, and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
But move on and find out where you thrive. Maybe the parents should have been up there talking, and Meghan could have just been there to support them, and Meghan could have introduced them or something. But Meghan being the messenger while
Mm.
simultaneously posting videos of her own children online, while simultaneously using an AI app to shill clothing, is not a good look.
No. And speaking of looks, she's sort of dressed like Darth Vader's niece.
Yeah,
If I was going to explain that look.
it's so odd to me. It's so dark and just and it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be. It doesn't have to be. Like you said, William and Catherine deliver similar um conversations, deliver similar statements in a peaceful way
Yeah.
that's not as aggressive and harsh.
You don't have to envelop your speech and what your message in this theatric of wearing black and talking like that and being, it's just inauthentic and it makes you feel weird. I mean,
Yeah.
going back to your demographics, it's gonna be mostly women, I would assume, and every one of them are gonna, or most of them are gonna feel something's not right about this, and that's why, because
Hmm.
something's not right about that.
Mm.
We've talked about the brain and all that before, but that's women's intuition.
Well, I totally agree with you. I couldn't agree with you anymore. Agree with us, disagree with us. We want to know your opinion now. How did you feel after watching Meghan's speech? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend.